So I got a message from a Sagittarius, okay? And he is in a relationship with an Aquarius woman. Now, the first line of the email, before I even got to the paragraph, the first line of the email said, Aquarius are some real freaks. Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. And I was like, uh-oh, this is about to be a real doozy. And I was right. So I'm going to do the introduction, and then I'm going to tell you all about the situation that this Sagittarius gentleman is having with his girlfriend. And I'm going to give my opinion, and you guys can give yours too. Now, this is something we've actually talked about before, but because it keeps on coming up, we're going to address it one more time, okay? So, I'm Queen Osset Haru. Hey, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might like it too. Likewise, if you have time, please leave us a positive comment in the comment section and stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to read 2 positive comments and respond to them from previous videos. If you would like to get a reading done, please email me or hit me up on social media. And if you would like to get some Ask an Aquarius or some ArchAngel Michael merchandise, please check out underneath this video. If you'd like to send me a gift from my Amazon wish list, it is underneath this video. If you'd like to join us on Patreon, that link is underneath this video as well. And if you'd like to give a donation to the channel to keep the channel running, my PayPal is underneath this video too. So back to the Sagittarius. All right, so I have heard this before. I've experienced this before, okay? I've been through this many, many times. It's not my first time at the rodeo. So let me tell you. Basically, what's going on here is that the Sagittarius and the Aquarius have been in a relationship off and on for about 7 years. They know each other pretty well. They haven't had too many major things go wrong. It's just sometimes one of them kind of drifts off, he says, and they always find their way back to each other. So lately, in the past couple of months, they have been getting actually closer than they've been this whole time. And one of the things that has changed is the Aquarius has become more adventurous sexually. One thing I've noticed about Aquarius particularly, but women in general, is the more comfortable we become, the more adventurous we become in different ways. So for her, it has been sexually. So she's been more open to trying different things. So now they've tried all the things or have incorporated all the things that the Sagittarius liked into the bedroom. And the Aquarius now has some ideas. So this is where the problem comes in. The Sagittarius doesn't want to do the things the Aquarius wants to do. And the Aquarius is feeling some type of way because we've tried the things you like. Now we can't try the things I like. And I'm feeling her on that. I'm really feeling her. I'm like, oh, that's not fair. So she's like, well, how come we can't do different things that she's put out to him? I won't be graphic, but she wants to do things with beads, different toys, different jellies, different, different parts of his body that they have not explored yet, things like that. You get my drift. And the Sagittarius is like, especially some of the more, like, she talked about bondage, for example, which we all know you got to be careful with. You got to be with somebody that is, that you trust, bottom line. So he's really leery about that. She wants to get handcuffs. He's not, he's about it. Some things he's like, absolutely not. And some things he's like, really don't want to do that. So the Aquarius is feeling some type of way. They're still seeing each other regularly, but the Aquarius is feeling some type of way, like, this, it really isn't fair to me. So he asked me, what do I think about all this kinky stuff that his Aquarius wants to do? Do I think he's being unfair? All this kind of stuff. So what I want to say is this. Number one, I don't believe you should do anything sexually that you're not comfortable with. I don't believe that, because I have been in situations where people have wanted to do things I wasn't comfortable with, and I just couldn't perform. I just didn't do it. If I didn't want to do it, I didn't do it. And some people will just go ahead and do it anyway. I don't recommend that. I recommend, especially in this particular situation, because if they do something and he already going into it with a mindset, then it's probably not going to go well. I would recommend listening to her, hearing her out, and pick 2 or 3 things that aren't as outrageous, that you are about, not the absolutely not ones, and don't try them, research them. Because 9 times out of 10, you might find that some of these things are not what you think. For example, I had an ex one time, and she and I were talking about candle wax. I have a thing for candle wax. I like using it. I like the sensation of it, during foreplay. So she and I were talking about candle wax, and she had never experienced this before, and she thought it would be painful. Like, I don't want to do that. That sounds painful. So we talked about it. She said no. She was an Aquarius too, but she was a very different Aquarius. She wasn't as adventurous as I am. She's a January Aquarius, and she's had some circumstances in her life that made her less, adventurous. So she said no. I said, okay, we moved on. So then a couple of weeks later or so, we were laying there sipping. Sipping, I don't know if it was vodka. I think it might have been Alizé back then, that blue liquor we used to drink. Anyway, so we're drinking and watching TV, and she had this she had this tendency that I could not stand, to not be able to hold her alcohol. Now, this is something that irritates me, because when I'm drinking, I do not want you to blow my high. Okay? And every time we would start drinking, she would blow my high by doing something stupid. So this one particular evening, I'm sipping, watching something. I'm chilling. I'm like chillaxing. And she starts picking at me. She had this tendency to pick at me. And I was like, stop. Like, will you stop it? Like, you were not going to blow my high. Stop it, And she just kept picking at me. And I had just lit a scented candle. It was right next to the bed. And I looked at her and she wouldn't stop. And I grabbed the candle, and she was like, you better not. And I splashed it right on her. And she was like, like, she expected to scream, like she thought it was going to be like fire hitting her, but it's not. Anybody who's experienced it will tell you it's not as intense as fire. So it splashed on her, and it cools instantly. So you only feel it for like a couple seconds, and then you don't even feel it anymore. And then she was like, like, she expected it to be, awful. And she was like, let's do that again. So after that, she always wanted to play with candle wax, and it became one of our things. But up until that point, in her mind, she couldn't possibly even consider how that could have been, fun, until we actually tried it. Okay? So in your case, you might not want to take it as far as trying it, but I would say take it as far as learning about it, watching a video about it, for example, something like that, reading up on it or something like that, because it might not be as bad as you think. Like you talked about the handcuffs, that might not be as bad as you think. If you have a safe word, and you can read up on safe words and what they're for, it might not be that bad. So the ones that you aren't absolutely against, start with those. And then if you enjoy those, then you might want to try some of the other ones, because certain things that we're willing to do and not willing to do, some of the times the reasoning is good. It's because we just not feeling it. And sometimes it's more of a head thing, you know? He might feel like doing certain things makes him a certain way, you know? Like, you know, that makes me soft or something like that, you know? And that's absolutely not the case. So I would strongly suggest trying those, the ones that, you know, are and see how you feel about them. Also, remember when you're experimenting romantically, sexually, you're not going to like everything. Some things you're going to do, and you're going to be like, I ain't like that. I don't never want to do that again. And some things you're going to do, and you are going to want to repeat, you know, time and time again. It might become part of your regular regimen, like the candle wax did. So that's what I would suggest. I would suggest that. Just educating yourself on the things that she wants to try and seeing if they are indeed that bad. And if they are awful and you're just like, no, I can't do this, then she has to be understanding. Now, the last part of what he said in the letter was he's afraid that if he doesn't do these things with her, that she will go just do them with somebody else. And my thing is that she might, you know, she may have already, who knows, you know. But my thing is that I wouldn't do them based on the strength of, oh, I don't want her to do it with somebody else. If the two of you have a relationship and you said at this point, you know, it's been off and on, now you're pretty much on and you're exclusive at this point. So if you can't trust her not to parade off and do God knows what because you said no, then you can't trust her at all. That's just an untrustworthy situation that you might as well keep it moving. You know, if you can't trust her, if every time you tell her no, she's gonna go scamper off and find somebody else to do it, then her commitment isn't with you in the first place. So that's your answer right there. It's time to, you can have the relationship, you can, spend time with her, but don't take it seriously because she's really not committed to you if she'll scamper off at the first sign of somebody else might do what she wants to do. So I'm saying to you, see if you can find a compromise that can be, suitable for you both. But I wouldn't do anything that I was uncomfortable with for fear of her doing it outside. And you also said she's never done things like that. In all these 7 years y'all been messing around, she's been honest with you. So there's really no reason to all of a sudden assume that she won't be. Okay? So guys, if you have some advice for our Sagittarius, please drop it in the comment section. He's going to be reading all the comments, so please be kind. Okay? All right, now let's take a look. We have two. Let's see. Oh, I moved the camera when I did that. We have two messages for me to respond to. The first one came from Siobhan. Hey, Siobhan. Siobhan says, number 2. I've definitely been attracting better. Okay. The other day, I did a reading with my strawberry shortcake oracle cards. And this is what Siobhan is responding to. Siobhan, make sure that you hit that subscribe button too. I want all of you guys to be subscribed. So Siobhan says she picked the second card, and she says, I've definitely been attracting better circumstances in my life lately. The second card was about attracting, better things and happy things and manifesting good things into our lives. She also says, I also had a bunch of strawberry shortcake merch, including the stroller with the hood made out of a strawberry top. Ah, the nostalgia. Yeah, I remember that. I remember the stroller, and she had some friends, and one of them, her breath was like blueberry or something like that. Yeah, I remember that very well. Strawberry shortcake was cool. And strawberry shortcake has been rebooted, somebody told me. So some other generations got to enjoy her as well. So Siobhan, thank you so much for your comment. Maya Karen. Hello, Maya. How you doing? Maya picked number 2 as well. Okay. Maya said, wow, manifesting. Thank you for the tip. Strawberry shortcake, sweet cutest. I used to have the metal lunchbox with the plastic thermos of her in elementary school. I remember I remember the thermos. I remember the metal lunchbox, and then later on they got the plastic lunchboxes. Anybody who still has one of those metal lunchboxes, that's like, it's got to be like a collector's item at this point. But yeah, strawberry shortcake with the lunchbox. Yes, on point. All right, that was our last one. So you guys come back soon because I got a lot more to say. Seriously, a whole lot more. See you later.